Alright, I'm actually going to pause real quick. Just because this is a really clunky. This is another clunky teleport. I can see the idea coming from TP from a unique angle, and it's close enough to the edge where you can stand through and shoot at the point. But it also, I can't tell why one tank is down here, one healer is dead, and then another one, I think, I'm not sure it's someone who's respawning, is coming from spawn. But I've seen people who will have like one distraction over here. Hey, look at me. Where they'll kind of jump up and down. Hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. And then they'll have the TP over here so they can get the TP off without encumbrance. But this was honestly a bit of a misplay that made our lives a lot easier. I don't want to bully the other team or detract from the good things that we did, but that TP made our job a lot easier. Because they basically split themselves. And honestly, like if there are cases where you can force a split on them, like whether it be a bad TP placement or timing, or if you can just catch someone at the wrong spot, like um, True Nightling got Invisible Woman pulled and then Bucky gripped into just a terrible darn into a terrible spot. Um, if you can force those or dodge those, that'll help you out quite a bit. Oof, got another Hornet ult. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now this is another heartbreaker. I want to come over here, and yes, this is partially to Nana Nana Boo Boo, but we are at 4 seconds left. None of them have touched the point to trigger overtime. Um, and I'm going to even slow it down a little bit. Not just to bully the team, but there's 3 seconds, 2 seconds. At this point, if you're anyone on this team, you've got to be screaming, touch the point. And honestly, it might even be just a sacrifice. Throw what's left of your hero's frame on the point to trigger overtime. But as you can tell, even with 2 seconds left, they have not touched the point. Have not touched the point. Have not touched the point. 1. Still no. And that right there is the trigger for the end of the game. One of the things I love about esports, at least when it comes to things like this, a ref cannot ruin the game. I've had refs or league officials or other coaches throw stinks about player eligibility, or we had the guys complaining about MVP reels, whatever. It doesn't actually affect whether or not you win or lose the actual match itself. Now, like if we found some ringer off of Discord and brought in a one above all Smurf to try to carry us through playoffs, okay, that's player cheating. But like once you're here in the game, and especially like with how tightly NetEase runs their things with administrator back views, like you can't cheat. Yes, like I know it is technically possible, but like it's gonna get found out. You know, it's not like we could press a magic button to somehow keep them off point. They just failed to touch the point by that much. Now, some contesting things to be aware of. If you are too far above the point, so like for example, if this Doctor Strange came up over to here, they might be low enough to contest. But if you're like hella alt way up here, that's not going to contest. Likewise, if you're Invisible Woman and you're invisible, that won't contest. Um, there's a couple other like invulnerable states where it doesn't count as a contest. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you can do what I call the hokey pokey. So, if like say this Magneto here is trying to not get just completely nuked, at 3 seconds he can kind of walk in, do the hokey pokey, touch the point, and turn around so you don't get nuked, and it'll trigger overtime, and you'll see that bar start counting down. And the longer you're off that, the more it keeps the longer into overtime you go, the faster it degrades, and eventually it will just go away if you don't actually find the win condition. It doesn't go infinitely like some games. But it's triggered by this magic little line right here I'm kind of tracing on whether you're off the point or on the point. And it goes in a perpendicular line straight up to a. Now, the one thing I wish that they would kind of delineate better is how high up is too high. Like an invisible woman silhouette cylinder might be nice, or like a little like flashlight that shows what that ceiling is. But long story short, there are lots of ways to contest the point. They just failed to do it here. So I'm not trying to pick on them, but just like a heads up to the team of when we're trying to contest points, we've got to make sure we contest it. Oh, whoops. I forgot I still have it on halftime. I'm like, why is this moving so slow? All right. This is a good approach maneuver, sending a flanker over here to force a different angle so they can't just send Punisher bricks down Main Street. Good job. Looks like Bebo's doing the same thing. Initially, the pick for Iron Man was to build a flank and get penny nests. And then Hornet moving on up. So this is once okay, good bubble. Honestly, I would hold that bubble for the penny web, and then be close enough that when the other tank gets webbed, that the other tank can step up and shield that tank. Yep, we're just walking on forward, walking on forward. Bebo getting some sky pressure. Okay, I'm actually going to pause right here. So we've already got our first 2 support ults. Our team, we know that we have the other 4 ults ready. Here's the stinker. They only had 3 more ults ready. If we just would have all pushed Q, okay, 3 offensible ults ready. We could have probably just nuked them before Punisher or Mag have ult. Now, me personally, if I'm playing Magneto, I like to hold his ult to counter Punisher, but okay. So we got 2 ults going off. Good cloak and dagger ult from them. If we don't get anyone. Now they use theirs. They get a couple shots on us. So between not going early enough and a couple misplays, is that our squad? Yes, it is. Okay. So this is effectively all of us pressing Q. And they've mostly pressed Q. They have 1 more that they're waiting on and 2 that are in effect. So do we get him back? Yes, we do. That's a really clutch Adam Warlock ult, to be honest. It's the saving grace of the other ults not working. Okay, so we're getting Hornet in there. It's lots of pressure. We're running Magneto a little bit closer to help both shield, but also just those alternate fires can really help push back the team. Both literally, if you hit a 3-ring shot, it pushes them back, but also it does a whole bunch of damage too. Okay, and we're right back on it. Okay, the other thing I love about this is, yes, we botched the first one just by a little bit. They have 2 ults ready to go, but we've also got a whole bunch that are charging significantly faster. So like looking at our healers, 64, 58, got it, 49. Tanks are yeah, so they're running 3 tanks. For this sake, I want to count their penny as a DPS. So we got 1 and 68. Our tanks a little bit lower than that. Okay, and then DPS 30, 58, 66, and 86. So like, yeah, we're gonna get it a lot faster than them. And they've already blown one of them just to not give up the point. Can they get Hornet? I don't think so, but that was perhaps the hope of just tunnel some. There it is. Yep. And then just, yeah, and then their Magneto missed. So boom, boom, boom. Press Q for deeps. Or we can be safe. Boom. And then this is just out of spite. Yeah. So I think if we had pressed go a little bit sooner, we actually could have won that a full minute earlier. But at this point, we had the room to play it safe. That's part of the reason why we picked defense first. It gives us that flexibility to know what our win condition is, so we don't overextend ourselves. Overall, good match. Again, I don't want to pick on our opponents or undersell what we did. There were several misplays that they had during this match that we can learn from to make sure, hey, don't over ult. Make sure that we've got good balances, matchups. They tried triple tank. It honestly didn't work for them. They didn't have nearly enough damage to compete with, you know, when a Moon Knight can hit 47%, that mean when an Iron Man is hitting 70%. Okay, I got to see how much he was hitting on Iron Man in particular. Come on. Come on. Oh, come on. It's supposed to let me see. I don't know why it's not letting me see the per hero breakdown. That's so weird. I used to be able to like click on a player and then get like a breakdown on each hero they played. I don't know why it wasn't working. But anyway, great job, guys. Wednesday, yes, we have a team that we've beaten before, but we can't just assume that we're going to do it right. I'm going to go through my channel and pull those tapes back out so you can get some scouting on it. And I'll see you guys in a couple days.